As the Senate considers the nomination, it remains to be seen whether the nominees will be confirmed, of course, and how will they perform in their roles. One thing is certain, however, the nominations have sparked a lively debate about the role of politics in Nigerian's diplomatic service. All right, so we're now being joined by Mr. Liberty Wilson, a lawyer, author, and a public affairs analyst from Abuja. Good afternoon, Mr. Liberty.
Yes, Mr. Savio, good afternoon to you. How are you today?
I'm not fine yet until I get hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure, I can hear you quite clear.
Yeah, I said I'm not fine yet until I get what you brought in from Gombe State over the weekend.
Sure, I've kept them for you.
Okay. So now I am fine. Happy New Month to you.
So now I am fine. Happy New Month to you.
All right,
Thank you. Happy New Month to you.
Yeah, so all right, we're now being joined also by Comrade Iragbe Anslem, member of Labour Party, Interim National Working Committee. Comrade, good afternoon to you.
Thank you, Comrade Savio Iragbe Anslem, the National Youth Leader of Labour Party. My pleasure to be here.
All right, thank you for joining the program. And of course, we also have Mr. Nwonye Chijioke, a distinguished business magnate, astute political and social analyst, a seasoned professional with a wealth of experience in public relations, public speaking, and corporate consulting. Good afternoon, Mr. Chijioke.
Good afternoon, Dio. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. How is Canada today?
Well, Canada is better. It's always better than Nigeria, you know.
You don't have to say that, and you don't have to go there. That was being petty. That was being petty. That was below the belt, and we're not going to take it from you. What do you mean?
You know?
If Canada has snow, we have our own harmattan here. What's that? What are you feeling like? Don't do that to us, please.
You have bandits and kidnappers, corrupt politicians.
Don't do that to us.
Thank you very much.
Let us manage our government, okay? All right.
Manage. That's what we have been doing, and that's where we are today. We don't need to manage them.
The Lord will see us through, you know. The Lord will see us through. All right, let me go to Comrade Iragbe Anslem. Let me start up with you. Hello, Comrade, are you there? Comrade Iragbe, are you there? Hello, Comrade. Comrade Anslem, are you there? Okay, so
I'm here.
Okay. So, Comrade, I'd like to start with you.
Okay.
Do you think these nominees have the necessary skills and experience to effectively represent Nigeria in diplomatic roles? And of course, what can you say about this nomination? Having Reno Mokri, having Fani Kayode, and of course, Yakub Mahmoud. What do you have to say about it?
First and foremost, Iragbe Anslem, the National Youth Leader of Labour Party. Diplomatic relations and representation requires to a very large extent people who have built capacity in that direction. That's one aspect. The other aspect again could be political, just like what we have now. Then the kind of the caliber of men that you send to represent your nation will ideally also speak for or against you in that nation. Okay, we have just had a situation where people of different characters, what we have expected would have been to send people with modest character and history. But we have had people who have flip-flop both in their behaviors, in their character, even in the offices they have occupied. For instance, there are a lot of misgivings in Nigeria. When you talk about Professor Mahmoud Yakub of INEC, while he presided over INEC, particularly with respect to the 2023 general election, there are so many misgivings. So what it looks like now is a reward for failure. Ideally, it's not good enough. But again, this will serve as a lesson to humans, particularly Nigerians, who believe they can do anything and get away with anything or everything. We are beginning to see where people are being rewarded. Reno Mokri, this is a man who had insulted severally, a man who had called President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu a drug baron. At what point did Reno suddenly realized that Mr. President is no more a drug baron, that he had called him severally. Fanifa Kayode, of course, we have seen him severally. It's neither here nor there. You see, at the time in life, men need to know where they belong and what they do. It's not all about politics, but however, the interest of this nation, the integrity of people and nation also should come into play. One would have expected that President Tinubu, with his track record, more so at this moment in the country, where we desire leadership, where we desire to move forward progressively, that the caliber of men and women he would appoint would be such that they will justify his desire to reposition this country. However, he has made the appointment. They are all within his purview. They are all within his rights to make as president. But the fallback of the appointment he has made, people like us cannot go help but to criticize. To say some of these appointments are not square pegs in square holes. So they are mismatched. So we hope, we don't know what he will do about that, but the president also needs to really look at the caliber of men and women he's sending to represent him and this nation going forward. So let me leave it at this for now to say, well, he has made this, it's long overdue ideally. We had expected also that Mr. President, this is about 30 or 31 months, about 65% of the tenure is gone, and he's just appointing ambassadors. So I don't know really what they are going to do this time, but they have been appointed. Let's hope they'll be sworn in, all the same. But we have the right to critique them, which is what we are saying. So most of them are not fit in the capacity in which they have been appointed. Some of them are not even fit to be appointed into public offices anymore by reason of their track record. Some of them have mentioned. So, but we hope and pray that Nigeria will get it right and going forward. God bless you.
All right. Thank you so much, comrade. All right. Let me go to Chijioke before I get back with Mr. Liberty. Hello, Chijioke. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm always here.
Yeah. So, what do you think about this nomination? What do you think about this particular list? You know, this ambassadorial nominees. Who are you having issues on that list with? Who do you think was not meant to be on that particular list?
I just want non-career ambassadors first. But before I start anything, I want to tell Nigerians, my fellow Nigerians, that we are in big trouble. We are in trouble. Like, there is fire on the mountain.
And sorry. And it's even better that you are not here. So do you think that the people on that list can actually represent Nigeria, you know, in diaspora, where you are, for example? So please go ahead.
We might be seeing the Westerners as the unwise people, unsmart people. But I want to let you know that these people are intelligent. They are the one that invent education, like the education we know. They are intelligent. So there is no how you expect a country like Canada, and when someone is coming to represent Nigeria, you expect them to just welcome the person without doing a background check on the person. Oh, this person that is coming to represent this country, who is this person? And then they will check the background, and then let's take, for instance, someone like Reno Omokri. I don't need to tell you who Reno Omokri is because his background is there. He has been embarrassing himself all over. He's a natural disgrace. Now, someone like Reno Omokri, you give that person an ambassador position, and what is he representing? Like, how do you expect the intelligent Westerners or the intelligent foreigners to see us? Because Reno Omokri, if he's coming, he's not coming as Reno Omokri. He's not coming as he's representing Nigeria, and he's like the diasporas or the Westerners is not seeing Reno Omokri, seeing Nigerians, and such a person who has embarrassed himself, who has disgraced himself, brought himself to nothing. He's a natural disgrace. You're giving the person an ambassador position. What are you telling the world? I don't understand. Are you trying to say that we don't have capable hands? We don't have people with dignity, people with reputable or respectable reputation? You put someone like Reno Omokri to represent Nigeria. That is shameful. That is disgraceful. He doesn't have a good track record. That says a lot about our president. I don't know. Does our president really know what he's doing? Or is he just doing because it clearly shows that he doesn't know what is happening. I'm not even sure he knows that Reno Omokli's name is on that list. Because everything Reno Omokli says about him and this and that, and yet, I don't know, you have to understand that it doesn't really, I don't think that Tinubu is the one ruling us, because with what is happening, it's high time that we Nigerians need to start asking questions. Like, Tinubu needs to come out, not to address us, but to answer questions. He really needs to answer questions. He needs to tell us, why on earth should someone like Muhammadu Yakubu, the former INEC, how on earth should he give someone like that an ambassador position with what he did? The worst election we had was under his administration. The worst election, the worst thing that happened in the history of Nigeria happened under Muhammad Yakubu's leadership. And then he's giving him an appointment. Who else again? Should we go? Okay, I can understand. Let's talk about Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi. He can say it's compensation, because of course Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi was the one that brought the governor of Enugu State from PDP to APC. So it's like compensating him for a job well done. So who else again? Is it okay? Is it Bazu, the former governor of Abia State, that had Abia State for 8 years? Nothing. I said nothing to show for it. Abia State, he was governor. He's not a commissioner. He's not a governor for 8 years, and there is nothing to say that, oh, this is what Okeze Bazu did in Abia State, and he's giving this. This sparks questions. So our president needs not to address us, but to answer questions. He needs to answer some questions.
Thank you so much, Achijeke, for that particular submission. And of course, I got something there. You were saying that the president needs to look into this, and of course, mentioning that there are so many things that he's not aware of. Are we going to say that this particular nominee list is maybe just equivalent to that of the pardon list, that of course he already gave pardon before he reviewed the list? Just like some people said that, oh, the president was not aware of what was going on initially, and he just pardoned it, but now he has seen it. That's why he's actually removing some names off it. See, so does it mean that he's not aware of this particular nominee list? It's just a question. But of course, I'd like you to hold your thoughts. We have a caller. I'd like you to hold your thoughts, please. Hello. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. All right, so I think there's a glitch there. All right, Chijioke.
So, to answer the question, can you hear me?
Okay, so I think the call is in.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, this is Aina calling you from Lagos.
All right, Aina, please go ahead.
Let me start by, you are just throwing jabs at me that the president, that I said, if you're referring to me that the pardon list, that my president is not aware.
You said
of the
I
list.
was throwing what? Come again.
It's like you are referring to me that I once said.
No. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like that. I didn't mention that. Everybody gave that speculations. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Let's go back to the topic of the day. It's quite disgraceful for my president to model that list. Is a poor reflection of my president, because with Reno Omokri, Fani Akayode, if my memory serves me right, Fani Akayode once, I think, said that he had a mental issue, if my memory serves me right. So where does these people come into the scheme of things of the Nigeria of today? I feel very bad that my country could be deregulated, brought so low by this psychopath.
So, that means that you are not also in support of this particular nominee list.
Totally I am not in consonant of this list. So please,
for the very first time, you are not happy with what your president. You usually personalize it. You're not happy with what your president actually did. Is that what you're saying?
I'm an analyst, so that is what I do for a living. So if he's not doing it right, and I'll say he's not doing it right for this. No, it's a no. It's a no.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so let me go to Mr. Liberty, the Gombe man who's back to Abuja now. Mr. Liberty, are you there?
Yes, I'm with you, sir.
All right, so Let's come here now. Let's talk about this situation. Of course, let's evaluate some things. What are the critical situation, as regards to this whole, ambassadorial nominee? What criteria do you think should be used to evaluate, the competence of ambassadorial nominee? And of course, we'll talk about conflict of interest, because you would agree with me that this particular news, the question is still, buzzing. We just want to know, is this about merit, or is about us, appreciating loyalists? We just have to get that particular conversation, out of the way. So, of course, conflict of interest and, of course, nepotism. Is there a conflict of interest in nominating Mahmoud Yakub, given his role in the 2023 election that brought President Tinubu to power? And of course, do you think the nomination of former governors and the government official constitutes a form of cronyism? Please, I'd like you to take all of that.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Savio. I think there is something so important the administration is missing. And that thing is, the administration is not in consonance with the fact that what sustains a democracy is not politics. Democracy is a sacred institution. And for it, the measures that need to be put in place is literally adopting sustainable measures, such as a sustainable rule of law, such as a sustainable justice system, such as a sustainable principle of meritocracy. And this administration is all missing this point, because what I think this administration is doing is not really deciphering or coming in terms with the basic understanding of what it means to be an ambassador. When I refer to you as an ambassador, what I mean by that is that you are an image of the person you represent. In church, literally Christians call themselves ambassadors of Jesus Christ, which literally connotes a sense of representation. That means that wherever you are, whatever you do, whatsoever you're going to be engaging with, you have a sole interest to protect the interest of the master. And I think this administration is getting it wrong. It's thinking that when we talk about issues of ambassadorial appointment, we mean sustaining a political empire. It's that will sustain a democratic empire. Mr. Chijoki has laid it so important. When Reno that have serious reputational crisis represent a country, it calls to questions issues of whether or not the country itself is even serious. You see, that's the critical aspect we need to put in place. We need to critically consider at this material point in time. You don't sustain a democracy using politics. Terms of politics are over immediately you took an oath of office as the president. But what the president is doing is literally what honestly I don't understand. There's one thing with politics. Politics is about sustaining a self-ambition. That's why a philosopher said politics is about who gets what and how. So when we begin to marry political principles into democratic principles, you're going to have a system that is and then I thank God for one from diaspora. And then critically, you can tell us how now talking about issue conflict of interest. It's definitely there. Though, our laws has not really provided an effective and efficient guideline for appointment of ambassadors. What we see literally is probably a provision of Section 171 of the Constitution that provides that they shall be the president subject to the confirmation of the Senate. By this provision, there is no guideline as to this is the requisite qualification that each person is supposed to possess before being appointed as an ambassador. But I think by practice direction guideline, just as said by the national youth leader of Labour Party earlier, he said something. He said even if we don't have guidelines, there are principles, there are operational terms that are guiding appointment as such. And these operational guidelines need to be put in place. That's why he mentioned issues of meritocracy in appointment of this.
Okay, I
Trust me, there is
think.
none.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Wilson, for that wonderful submission. Let me go back to Comrade Rugby and Slim. Hello, Comrade, are you there? Please unmute your mic if you're there.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So, Comrade, let's talk about merits now, and of course, let's try and see how we can provide solution from this particular, side of the country. How can the presidency ensure that ambassadorial nominations are not used as a means of course, rewarding political loyalty?
Thank you. First and foremost, every political appointment, just like this one, actually reward for political engagement, probably in terms of electioneering or, or, or after election. It all depends on probably what we are beginning to see is you become qualified for appointment if you have a very high nuisance value. So this is what we are beginning to see. It's no more, the appointment are now centered on the extent to which your nuisance was high. For instance, if you take Professor Mahmoud Yakub, he orchestrated the highest level of nuisance in Nigeria when he conducted the 2023 general election. He talked about glitches. We saw how results were not properly collated. We saw how those that were declared were not actual winners. But of course, that went further to be justified by even the courts. So there are a lot of issues concerning this matter. But what we had expected was, okay, elections have come and gone. Yes, you could reward some persons for their nuisance politically. But at certain levels, you go beyond those nuisance values to the exact values that people are bringing on the table. For instance, in diplomatic relations, character. Character is a key component. Integrity. Of course, you must have attained certain educational qualification by way of education, maybe first degree, minimally. But in terms of career progression, again, as a diplomat, or as an ambassador to be, it's expected that you would have grown in certain diplomatic aspects by way of your training or by way of your service. Maybe you have been in the civil service, you've grown through the cadre to attain maybe a directorate level. You've learned management and leadership, some of these traits at those levels. You have attended to some other aspects, security matters. So there are core aspects of issues that should pertain to why somebody should be appointed as an ambassador. For instance, so there are many of them. Let me not go into all of those. But what we are saying now is what we have just seen, do not reflect what it should be for a country like Nigeria that is struggling to come out of all the bad image, all the bad name, all the misrepresentation we have suffered. A country suffering from insecurity, a country suffering from poverty and want, a country whose citizens across the world are known for, to a very large extent, misbehaviors. I don't want to use very terrible words here. So, however, what we expect is to begin to rebuild the image of this nation. First and foremost, by looking for men and women of reputable character. People whose character we could vouch for because of their antecedents. But here is a case where we have people with very terrible track records. Even if you've mentioned their names, they have been appointed, but their representation is not going to do any image laundry for Nigeria. It's going to be a very big disservice. And these appointments are going to worsen the plight of this nation, because what it is showing us is that it is only when you have done terrible things that you'll be qualified for anything in government. Of course, we are in a country where people have worked very hard, diligently, but nobody knows them. Just like I used Reno Mokri, for instance, I've used Professor Mahmoud Yakub, for instance. For instance, look at the problem in Labour Party, emphatically. Professor Mahmoud Yakub was there when all this happened. Let's keep the election aside. Julius Abure, the world knows what happened To the extent where just only recently on the October 14th, the then acting chairman claimed that Julius Abure submitted a valid court order from Gwagwalada. We ran to Gwagwalada only to find out there was nothing like that. Suddenly again, now this same Abure went to Nasarawa to go and get an interlocutory order to order INEC to recognize him as party chairman. And this same INEC under Professor Joash Amupitan is also beginning to perpetrate illegality on Labour Party by forcing Abure even against a Supreme Court judgment. Then suddenly tomorrow we are going to have an instance where if for any reason President Tinubu wins 2027, he may not take Professor Joash Amupitan, who is now beginning to act very terribly. I'm telling the world now, though he has not started, but he's acting very terribly. He has a Supreme Court judgment before him and is attending to frivolous court orders to parade Abure and INEC officials who are co-conspirators in this matter.
Comrade Anslem, we are pressed for time. We're pressed for time, so our time might not be able to accommodate more again. And I have to just go to Chijioke. Hello, Chijioke, are you there?
I'm here. The point is made to say, because we are talking about the same government.
No, so comrade, these are your final thoughts, okay? Because of our time, we won't be able to take more again. Okay, we're pressed for time. I will just have to round off on the show. Thank you so much, comrade, for that wonderful submission. Hello, Chijioke, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
All right, so Chijioke, in just 30 seconds, okay? So I'd like to take your final submission, please.
Do I think that this list is just the same like the pardon list that the president did before the court came in? I have two things to say about it.
Please, you have to be fast about it.
It's likely going to be like, yes, it's the same thing. Or it's likely going to be that he's aware of it, he just want to compensate, or he's just planning for the next election, you know? Or then if it should be that it's the same mistake that he did with the pardon list, then this should spark a very big question. Mr. Tinubu, President, sir, do you really know what you are doing as a president? Because you don't know. Are you really ready for this job, or please retire and let's know what to do?
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Liberty, thank you. Mr. Liberty, are you there? Sorry, you had so much network glitch there. I would like to take your final thoughts in just 10 seconds, if you can.
All right. So over time, we have had in this country a very powerful foreign policy system, and we have had a prime minister.
Well, the network again. So sorry.
I think it will not really be wrong if.
Okay. This is how far we can actually go on the show. Because we're pressed for time, and sincerely, we're sorry about that particular, network glitch there with Mr. Liberty. Of course, I just have to let you know that the views and opinions expressed by our analysts are solely their own and do not reflect those of VOP Media. Of course, we're all entitled to our opinion. If you love the world of sports, I'd like you to stay put to actually enjoy another new week of sports. But I would leave you with don't give up, because it is not over. Tough time doesn't last, but tough will do last. Whatsoever you're facing will soon be over, and you will definitely smile again. My name remains Xavier Udo. Have a good evening rest.